My beloved, I have come to tell you something the Spirit whispered to me in the stillness of the night. When the world was quiet, when the moon was heavy with light, and when even the winds dared not speak, God leaned near my soul and said, "Tell them August 17, 2025 will not be a normal day. My dear heart, lean in close and let me speak to the soul of you. There are moments in life when the clock does not merely tick, it thunders. When the calendar does not simply turn a page, it opens a door. August 17, 2025 is one of those moments. The Almighty has called it by name. It is not an accident, not an afterthought, not an ordinary date meant to pass quietly into memory. No, my beloved, it is a day with a divine appointment, a day heaven has circled in gold, a day the angels have whispered about in the hush of eternity. I have heard the voice of the one who shaped the mountains and scooped the oceans into place. His tone was steady, yet it carried the urgency of a father calling his child home. He said, "Tell them August 17, 2025 will not be a normal day." And I knew, deep in the marrow of my bones, that this was not just poetry or pleasant encouragement. This was instruction, this was prophecy, this was a trumpet in the distance, growing louder, calling the faithful to prepare. For years, some of you have walked through seasons that felt endless. The days blurred into weeks, the weeks into months, and the months into years, all carrying the same gray weight. Prayers went up, but silence came down. Hopes rose, only to be blown away like leaves in a restless wind. You have seen doors shut before you even touched the handle. You have seen opportunities vanish like morning mist. You have tasted the salt of your own tears and wondered if God still had you written in his book. But the Spirit of the Lord says, "Child, I have not forgotten. The date has been set." Oh, my dear, do you understand what that means? This is not random. This is not the tossing of dice in the heavenlies. God is not scrambling to make something happen for you at the last minute. No, this day was written before you took your first breath, before your mother's womb felt the flutter of your heartbeat. The Lord already knew the battles you would fight, the nights you would cry, and the prayers you would pray with your face pressed against the floor. And because he knew, he appointed a day, not just any day, that day, August 17th, 2025. The day the ordinary will bow to the extraordinary. The day time itself will bend to the will of the Almighty. Understand this. God's appointed days are not always announced with lightning and thunder. Sometimes they arrive softly, disguised as a morning like any other. But in the unseen realm, the heavens are shifting. Angels are moving with purpose. Blessings that have been held in the waiting rooms of glory are being released. The answers you thought were lost are stepping into your path. I believe some of you will wake up on that morning and feel it in your spirit before you even open your eyes. There will be a weight in the air, not the heaviness of despair, but the richness of promise. You will feel a strange certainty, like the air is thick with oil, and your feet are standing on holy ground. It may not be loud, but it will be undeniable. And why? Because God is a God of appointed times. The scripture says in Habakkuk 2:3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." Oh, my love, that word appointed means fixed, chosen, unmovable. You cannot rush it and you cannot delay it. You can't bribe it with your good works, and you can't cancel it with your mistakes. When the appointed time comes, it comes because the one who holds eternity in his hands has spoken. And what he speaks cannot return empty. So I say to you, lift your eyes from the dust of your disappointment. Stop counting the years you've lost. Stop rehearsing the wounds in your mind. The God who appointed this date has factored in every setback, every detour, every tear, and every failure. He knows exactly where to meet you, and he has already written the coordinates of August 17th, 2025 into your destiny. Now, I must tell you, this is not just about receiving a blessing. It is about alignment. A divine date requires a prepared heart. If God has written a miracle into your story, you must be standing in the place where you can receive it. You cannot be in the fields of bitterness when the rain of grace begins to fall. You cannot be tangled in the weeds of unforgiveness when the harvest of answered prayer comes rolling in. So prepare yourself. Prepare like a bride who knows the wedding day is set. Sweep out the corners of your soul. Light the lamps of your faith. Put on garments of praise instead of heaviness. Do not be caught unready, for God is not sending an ordinary wind. He is sending a rushing holy wind, and it will not wait for those who linger in doubt. Some will see breakthroughs in their health. Diseases that defied medicine will bow to the name above every name. Some will see financial chains shatter. Debts erased, opportunities unlocked. Some will witness reconciliation so deep and pure that even those watching will have to confess, only God could have done this. And others will see something so personal, so intimate, that they will carry it quietly in their hearts for the rest of their days, knowing the Almighty Himself stepped into their story. I do not tell you this to stir false hope. I tell you because I have felt the tremor in my spirit. I tell you because I have heard His voice. I tell you because I believe that when God appoints a day, the earth must make room for it. And when that day arrives, nothing, no power in heaven, no scheme in hell, no weakness in flesh can stop it. So write it down. Circle it in your calendar. Whisper it in your prayers. Let it be the song in your spirit when doubt tries to steal your joy. August 17, 2025. Not by my word, but by His. Will not be a normal day. It will be the day the author of your life turns the page and writes something new. It will be the day the waiting ends and the promise walks through the door. It will be the day that proves to you that the delays were not denials and the silence was not abandonment. The date is set. The hour is coming. And my beloved, heaven is already moving toward you. My beloved, there are moments in life when heaven leans low and earth stands still. August 17, 2025 will be such a moment. The Almighty has spoken, and His voice is not the voice of man that it should falter, nor the voice of time that it should grow weary. When God declares a day for miracles, all creation aligns itself with His word. On that appointed day, something will shift in the unseen realm, and that shift will make itself known in your life. Some of you have carried burdens so heavy you forgot what it feels like to walk without the weight. You have prayed until your throat was sore and your knees ached, yet the answer did not come. You have felt as though heaven's windows were closed, as though your petitions rose up only to dissolve into the clouds. But my dear, the Lord has been gathering every tear, recording every word, and storing every prayer in the treasury of His remembrance. Nothing you have whispered in faith has been wasted. When God said August 17, 2025 will not be a normal day, He was speaking of a divine release. Miracles that have been locked away in the vault of heaven will be set free. Prayers that seemed unanswered will come rushing toward you, carried by the hands of angels. Chains, those invisible chains of fear, addiction, debt, sickness, and despair, will fall without a sound. Not because of your strength, not because of your cleverness, but because God has chosen to move. You see, there are blessings that come in the ordinary flow of life, seeds planted in obedience that grow quietly in their season. But then there are blessings that come in a wave, crashing through every barrier, unstoppable and undeniable. August 17th will be such a wave for many. It will be the day when the impossible bows its head to the name of Jesus. Imagine a prisoner sitting in a dark cell for years, the cold stone his bed and the rusted bars his view. He has learned not to expect the sound of footsteps in the hallway. But one morning the lock clicks open and the door swings wide. The prisoner blinks into the light, unsure if it is real. That is what this day will feel like for you. Years of waiting, years of praying, years of seeing nothing, and suddenly the door will open. And beloved, when God opens a door, no man can shut it. No enemy can slam it closed. No fear can block your passage. The door will not just open a crack, it will swing wide, and you will step into a space prepared for you before the foundation of the world. For some, the miracle will come in the form of healing. A sickness you battled for years will lose its grip in a moment. Doctors will be baffled, but you will know that the great physician has passed by. For others, the miracle will be provision, debts cleared, jobs offered, businesses revived. Money will arrive in ways that cannot be explained by logic, only by the goodness of God. And for some, the breakthrough will be in relationships. Estranged family members will call. Apologies will flow. Love will replace bitterness. And then there will be those whose miracle will be deeply personal, unseen by the crowd. It will be a peace that settles into your heart after years of chaos. It will be a whisper from the Lord that says, I see you. I have always seen you. It will be the sudden realization that the thing you feared most has lost its power over you. Do not mistake me. Miracles are not random acts of kindness from heaven. They are the fulfillment of promises. Every miracle is a testimony that God keeps his word. When he told Abraham that Sarah would bear a child, it was not a suggestion, it was a divine decree. And though Sarah laughed in disbelief, the appointed time came and the child was born. When God says August 17th will be a day of miracles, he is not offering a maybe, he is declaring a certainty. But here is the truth you must hold close. Miracles require participation. Not that you can create them by your own hand, but you must be in position to receive them. If the door opens and you are too afraid to walk through, the opportunity may pass. If the chain falls but you cling to it, you will remain bound. So prepare your heart now. Fill it with faith. Sweep away the cobwebs of doubt. Refuse to entertain the whispers of the enemy that tell you it cannot happen for you. Faith is not blind optimism. It is the deep knowing that if God has said it, it will be so. Faith is the soil in which the seed of a miracle can grow. Water it daily with prayer. Nourish it with the word. Guard it against the weeds of negativity. On August 17th, when the rain of God's favor begins to fall, you will be ready to receive it in full measure. I must also tell you that the miracle will not only bless you, it will bless those connected to you. God's work is rarely contained in one life. When he poured out the oil in the widow's jars, her children were blessed, her household was saved, and her testimony encouraged others. Your miracle will ripple outward, touching lives you do not even know. People will look at you and see living proof that God still moves. And perhaps the greatest miracle of that day will be the shift inside your spirit. You will no longer see God as distant or indifferent. You will know him as close, as attentive, as deeply involved in your life. You will understand that he is not the God of vague promises, but the God of precise fulfillment. You will carry the memory of that day as a stone in your pocket, a reminder to yourself and a testimony to others. I have seen the Lord, and he has done great things for me. So, my dear, walk toward that date with expectation. Not as one who hopes for a scrap from the table, but as a beloved child walking into the feast prepared for them. Expect the chains to break. Expect the doors to open. Expect the prayers to be answered. And when it happens, lift your hands and say, "This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in my eyes." August 17, 2025 will not be a normal day. It will be the day heaven writes itself into your story. The day your life becomes a living testament to the truth that God still works wonders. Hold fast to that truth, and let no one take it from you. My dear child, when God marks a day for blessing, it is not enough to stand idly by, hands folded, heart unready. No, you must prepare. You must prepare the way a farmer prepares the ground before the rain. You must prepare the way a bride readies herself before the wedding. You must prepare as if the King himself has told you, "I am coming to your house." Preparation is not only a matter of what you do with your hands, but what you do with your heart. The Lord is not merely delivering a package to your doorstep. He is stepping into your life, and he is looking for a place to dwell. He is not sending an ordinary blessing. He is sending something so holy, so precious, that it cannot rest in a place cluttered with bitterness, fear, or doubt. I hear the Spirit saying, make room, not just in your schedule, but in your spirit. If you have been holding on to grudges like precious jewels, it is time to lay them down. If fear has been your companion whispering lies in your ear, it is time to send it packing. If you have been carrying the heavy stone of unbelief, refusing to believe it could happen for you, it is time to put it down and lift your hands in faith. Preparation is a posture. It is the way you stand before God when you know something is on its way. A prepared heart says, Lord, I am ready for you. I am ready for your will. I am ready for whatever you have planned. It is a willingness to let go of what has been so you can receive what will be. Think of the widow in the days of Elisha. When the man of God told her to gather jars so the oil could be poured, she could have hesitated. She could have gathered a few, thinking small, but she gathered as many as she could find because she believed there was more coming than her eyes could see. Her preparation determined the size of her miracle. My dear, do you hear me? The depth of your preparation will determine the depth of your blessing. If you prepare only for the small, you will only have space for the small. But if you prepare for the great, the vast, the overflowing, you will have space for what God longs to give you. Some of you have been asking for rivers but preparing for puddles. You have been asking for harvest but sowing sparingly. God is saying, stretch your tent, strengthen your stakes, enlarge your vision. And this preparation must be intentional. It will not happen by accident. You cannot drift into readiness. You must walk toward it. That means setting aside time to pray, not rushed, not distracted, but prayer that draws you near to the heart of God. It means opening the scriptures and letting them speak to your situation. It means worshiping Him now before you see the miracle, so that when it comes, your heart is already tuned to gratitude. On August 17, 2025, some will miss what God is doing, not because He did not move, but because they were not ready to recognize it. They will be so caught up in the noise of life that they will not see the hand of God moving in their midst. My love, do not let that be you. The enemy will try to keep you distracted in these days leading up to the appointed time. He will stir up conflicts that drain your energy. He will whisper doubts that eat away at your faith. He will place shiny distractions in your path to pull your gaze away from what truly matters. But you must guard your focus as a soldier guards the gates of a city. Some preparation will not be comfortable. You may need to release relationships that are toxic to your spirit. You may need to stop entertaining conversations that feed your fear instead of your faith. You may need to walk away from environments where your light is constantly being dimmed. God is not asking you to prepare halfway. He is asking for full surrender. And part of this preparation is expectancy. Expectancy is the oil that keeps the lamp burning through the long night. Expectancy is what kept the wise virgins ready when the bridegroom delayed. They had their lamps full, their wicks trimmed, their eyes watching for his arrival. They did not grow weary in waiting because they knew who was coming. And when he came, they were ready to step into the celebration. Prepare as if you already know the miracle has been dispatched and is on its way, because it has. The heavenly courier has been sent. The appointed time is marked. The delivery will arrive right on schedule. Will you be standing there, arms open, ready to receive? Or will you be scrambling at the last moment, trying to make space in a heart still cluttered with the old? I tell you, my beloved, the time to prepare is now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel like it. The harvest does not wait for the farmer to feel ready. The rain does not delay until the ground feels willing. You must till the soil now. You must plant the seeds now. You must lift your head and ready your spirit now. And hear me. Preparation is not just physical or emotional. It is spiritual. It is about being in alignment with God's will. It is about saying, Lord, not my way, but yours. Not my plan, but yours. Not my timing, but yours. Because sometimes the very thing that makes us unready is our own stubbornness, our own desire to dictate how and when God should move. Let that go. Surrender it. Let Him be God. When August 17th dawns, I want you to rise early. I want you to greet the day with praise on your lips. I want you to walk as one who has been expecting a guest, whose table is already set, whose heart is already clean, whose spirit is already rejoicing. And when the blessing comes, you will not be caught off guard. You will be able to receive it fully, without hesitation, without fear, without the weight of unpreparedness. Remember this, the miracle is God's work, but the preparation is yours. Heaven has its part, and earth has its part. And when your preparation meets his divine release, something holy happens, something that will mark you for the rest of your life. So my dear one, clear the space, light the lamps, lift your head. For the King is coming, and he will not come to an unprepared house. On that appointed day may he find you ready, heart open, hands lifted, soul expectant. And when he steps in, you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is what I have been preparing for. My dear heart, there are seasons when the soul feels stripped bare, when the years seem to take more than they give, when the weight of injustice presses down so hard it feels like you may never rise again. But I have lived long enough and walked with God close enough to tell you this truth. He is a God of restoration and a God of vindication. He does not allow the righteous to be wronged without cause, nor does he watch the years of your labor vanish without repayment. August 17, 2025, my beloved, will be a day when you see his justice and his mercy meet, when you see him restore what the locusts have eaten, and when you watch him lift your head high before those who thought you would stay bowed forever. Some of you have walked through fire you did not deserve. You have been spoken against in rooms you were not even allowed to enter. You have been betrayed by those you trusted, wounded by those you loved, ignored by those you helped. People wrote you off while God was still writing your story. And you have carried the sting of those wounds, wondering if God saw, if he remembered, if he cared. Oh, my child, he saw. He remembers, and he cares more than you can comprehend. The word says in Psalm 56:8, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. Every tear you have shed has been preserved, not one lost. Every injustice you endured has been weighed. Every false word spoken against you has been recorded in the courtrooms of heaven. And now the righteous judge has set a date to rule in your favor. Restoration is not simply giving you back what was taken. No, when God restores, he multiplies. He takes the years that seemed barren and fills them with more fruit than you could have imagined. Think of Job when the storm of loss passed. God gave him twice as much as he had before. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. But when God moved, he didn't just free him from the cell, he set him on the throne. Vindication is when God himself steps into the scene and says, enough. It is when he makes it clear to everyone watching that you belong to him and that no weapon formed against you could prosper. Sometimes vindication comes quietly in the form of opportunities no one thought you deserved. Other times it comes boldly, where those who mocked you must watch God bless you in ways they cannot explain. Psalm 23 says, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. That is vindication. On August 17th, there will be tables set in the presence of enemies. There will be names spoken with honor that once were whispered in gossip. There will be positions offered to those who were told they were not qualified. There will be doors opened that others tried to weld shut. And those who thought they could bury you will see that God was planting you instead. This will not be the shallow vindication of proving people wrong just for your own satisfaction. No, it will be the holy vindication of God's truth shining brighter than the lies spoken against you. It will be the kind of restoration that makes even your enemies say, surely the Lord has done this. And you, my dear, must be ready to receive it with grace. When God restores, do not spend the blessing rehearsing the pain. When he vindicates you, do not waste the moment boasting in yourself. Instead, lift your eyes to heaven and declare, this is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in my eyes. Because this restoration is not just for your comfort, it is for his glory. Some of you will see relationships mended on this day. Sons will call mothers after years of silence. Friends who drifted away in misunderstanding will reach out. Spouses will find the tenderness they lost somewhere in the storm. Some of you will see tangible restoration, properties returned, finances replenished, careers revived. Others will see the restoration of something deeper, the return of peace after long nights of anxiety, the return of joy after seasons of mourning, the return of hope after years of disappointment. And here is the beauty of God's vindication. It is never late. We measure time with impatience, but God works in perfection. There are seasons he allows the wrong to persist. not because he approves of it, but because he is setting the stage. If Joseph had been freed from prison too soon, he would have gone home a free man but not a ruler. If Job had been restored after just a month of loss, his testimony would not have been as deep, nor his blessings doubled. Sometimes the waiting makes the restoration so complete that it leaves no trace of the loss. I want you to picture yourself on that day, August 17, 2025, standing where you thought you would never stand. The wound healed, the loss returned, the lie silenced. And not just returned to where you started, but lifted higher. You will be able to say, I would not have chosen the storm, but I cannot deny the blessing it brought me to. You must also understand this restoration and vindication do not mean God will explain himself to everyone. He is not obligated to clear your name in every mouth that has misused it. Sometimes he clears your name by making your life so blessed, so whole, so radiant that no one can deny his hand is upon you. The gossip will lose its sting when your life becomes the proof. So in these days before the appointed time, release your need to fight your own battles. You have carried the weight of defending yourself long enough. Lay down the sword and let the Lord be your defender. Forgive the ones who wronged you, not because they asked for it, but because you refused to let their actions poison your heart. Bless those who cursed you, not because they deserve it, but because you are not bound to their bitterness. And when the day comes, walk in your restoration without shame. Walk in your vindication without apology. This is not luck, this is not coincidence, this is the justice of God made manifest in your life. This is the return of what was stolen, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is the lifting of your head by the hand of the Almighty. August 17, 2025 will not be a normal day, it will be the day some of you will say, I got back what I lost. It will be the day others say, God proved me right when the world said I was wrong. And for all who have waited, it will be the day you see that he truly does prepare a table for his children, and when the feast begins, no enemy can take away your seat. There are moments in this life when the heart feels heavy as if it is carrying a mountain made of yesterday's mistakes, disappointments, and unfulfilled dreams. You wake up in the morning and before your feet even touch the ground, the weight presses upon you. You begin to wonder if there will ever be a day when you are not haunted by the echoes of what could have been. It is in such times that you must understand your past is not your prison, it is your teacher. And God in his infinite wisdom has already written a story for you that does not end where your pain began. People will try to remind you of the roads you took that led nowhere, of the love you gave that was not returned, of the chances you had and squandered. But those voices, my dear, are not the voice of your Creator. God does not speak shame into your spirit. He speaks life. He speaks renewal. He speaks fresh beginnings. The past is a chapter in the book of your life, but the author is still writing, and he does not write in ink that cannot be erased by mercy. Sometimes the reason you cannot move forward is because you have set up camp in the land of regret. You have pitched your tent where the pain happened, and though the season has changed, you have refused to pack your things and journey on. But let me tell you, there is no harvest in a land that God has already told you to leave. If the soil has dried up, if the well has run empty, if the door has closed, it is not your assignment to stand there and beg life to return to it. Your assignment is to trust that God has prepared a place for you where the soil is rich, the water flows, and the door is wide open. Do not mistake the scars on your soul for signs of defeat. Scars are proof that you survived what was meant to destroy you. They are evidence that God's hand was over you when the storm raged, that his angels were stationed around you when the enemy tried to take your mind. You have lived through nights when tears soaked your pillow, mornings when you didn't have the strength to rise, days when you thought the sun would never shine again. But here you are, breathing, moving, still capable of love, still capable of hope. That is victory in itself. Understand this, what happened to you was not meant to define you forever. God never intended for the valley to be your permanent home. He intends for the valley to be the place where you learn to listen for his voice, where you lean not on your own understanding but on his unfailing wisdom. It is where you shed the weight you cannot carry into your next season. It is where you gather the strength and faith that will sustain you when you finally reach the mountain. Some of you are still holding the keys to prison cells God has already unlocked. You sit behind bars that no longer exist, and the only thing keeping you there is your refusal to step into the light. Maybe you think you are not worthy, maybe you think you have made too many mistakes. But God does not measure worthiness the way man does. His mercy has no expiration date. His grace has no limit. He will not ask you to pay for the same sin twice. If he says you are forgiven, then you are free. The only chains left are the ones you choose to keep. I know it is hard to let go. Pain has a way of feeling familiar, and familiarity feels safe even when it is slowly destroying you. But you were not created to cling to what hurts you. You were created to rise above it. You were created to walk in the fullness of joy, to dance again, to laugh again, to breathe deeply without the taste of sorrow lingering in your lungs. That is not just a dream. It is God's promise to you. When you choose to release the past, you are not denying that it happened. You are declaring that it no longer has power over your future. You are saying, I will not let yesterday rob me of tomorrow. You are placing your trust in the one who can take broken pieces and make them whole, who can take ashes and turn them into beauty, who can take a shattered life and turn it into a testimony that will inspire generations. Beloved, there is a place ahead of you where the grass is greener, not because it is someone else's field, but because it is the place God planted specifically for you. There is a season ahead where you will wake up with peace in your heart, where your laughter will ring louder than your tears, where the blessings will flow like rivers in the desert. But you cannot reach that place if you keep looking over your shoulder at the land you have already left. You are not the sum total of your failures. You are the child of the Almighty God, the one who calls you his own, the one who has already declared victory over your life. You have survived too much, endured too much, and prayed too hard to let your past steal the joy that is waiting for you. Let today be the day you gather your courage, lift your